Hello student, today we are going to learn for loop execution. So there are mainly three types of loop: for loop, while loop and do while loop. We normally execute the for loop most of the times, but while loop and do while loop, those are also very important. So in today's class we are only going to discuss about the for loop. We will execute the for loop, and in other classes, in later classes, we are going to discuss about the while loop and do while loop. So let us start. Now we have to understand that why do we need to use for loop. What is the requirement? Assume we have to write a word or a sentence many times, right? Say a word hello world. That word we have to write 10 times in a HTML document. That time we simply could have used any tag and write that hello world text separately 10 times, right? Assume requirement arises, we have to write that 100 times, fine. Then manually we have to write that 100 times, or we have to copy and paste that many number of times. So that many number of line of code it would have occupied the document, right? Assume just if I have taken skipped opening tag and skipped closing tag, right? And inside this I have to write this hello world 10 times. Then you can see 10 times I have written this word manually in 10 separate line. I have used BR, that is why it will appear in 10 separate line. So let me execute. So it has taken this many number of lines. That means that much memory it will occupy to save this file, right? If it has been asked to print 1000 times same thing, that means we would have occupied 1000 lines of code. So that much memory this particular file would have occupied, right? You can see 10 times it has been printed. So manually we have done. Instead of doing this thing manually, we can simply use the for loop. We will use the for loop to do this. So just see, here I will write for, right? This is the syntax of for loop which we need to memorize. Now we have to take a variable. So I variable we have taken, and also we have to initialize the variable. So there should be three statements. The first statement is we are initializing the variable I equal to 1. So I have initialized the variable I equal to 1. Before that also I need to declare this variable. So I will declare the variable I. So I have declared the variable I, but I have not initialized any value over here, because the value I will initialize inside the for loop first bracket, right? So here I have been initialized by the value 1. Now after that, how long this loop will continue, that condition I have to place. This is now a conditional statement. I will put that I less than equal to 10, as long as the value of this I will be less than 10 or equals to 10. Till then this for loop execution will not stop. This for loop execution will not stop. But whatever we are seeing now, only we can understand that this for loop will move on infinite time, because the value has been initialized 1. That means it will be always less than 10, right? The value has been initialized 1. That means it will be always less than 10, because 1 is always less than equal to, not equal to, less than 10. That means if I write here the code for execution. Inside the second bracket I have to write the code which has to be executed. Let's say document document.write, write. So here I will write hello world, right? And after that I will take a line with br. That means every time it will print hello world, and it will also go to a new line, right? Hello world, and it will take a line by br. Now if I save the file, now what you can see out here, this for loop which I have written, I have been initialized by 1. I is less than equal to 10. Then this condition will be always satisfied because 1 is always less than 10. Now how long this will continue? No, that I have to set. So if I write here that I plus plus, that means I plus plus means I will be incremented every time. Or I can write I equal to I plus 1. Both are same. I plus plus will work similarly as I equal to I plus 1, right? Now if I save the file here, see, I will be every time I will be incremented, right? Every time once this code will be executed, every time it will be checked that is the I value is less than equal to 10. If so, then this will be printed. Again it will be checked that if the value of I is less than equal to 10, so every time it will be incremented and this thing will be checked. So this print of this hello world will continue until and unless the I value will be equal to 10, right? Now if I go and execute, you can see 10 times it has been printed. So if I write hello student, so hello student, now you can see it will be printed hello student 10 times, right? Why it has been printed 10 times? Because for this condition, if I write 100 over here, that means what will happen? Every time we will enter into the for loop, this thing will be printed, and before that I will be incremented by I plus 1. So I value will be incremented every time, and I value will reach to 100, then only we will exit out of this for loop. Till then we will go on printing this thing. See, 100 times hello student has been printed. Now let me show you one thing. I just have again changed it to 10, and I will also show the value of I. So here I will write again, just see, I will write the value of I so that you can understand. Every time the value of I will be printed, right? See, so value of I will be printed every time so that you can understand. Let me save. First the value of I will be printed, after that hello world will be printed. So let us execute. Now you can see first time when you can see I have been initialized to 1, right? And it has been checked that 1 is less than 10, fine. The value will be incremented, 1 equal to 1 plus 1, that will be 2, and this thing will be printed. Before that I value will be shown. Okay, now see, I value has been shown. First time when we entered the loop, I value was 1, that is shown over here 1. Hello world has been, hello student, that has been printed. You can see hello student has been printed. It has taken a new line, right? It has taken a new line. Second time again it enters the before it go out of the for loop, it has been checked that is the I less than 10, fine. I has been incremented to the value 2 is less than 10. Now again 2 will be incremented here, 2 will be become 3. This thing will execute, and in this process the loop will goes on, and it will print till I is 10. If the I is 10, I became 10, that is equal to 10. I became 10, fine, I became 10, that means I equal to 10, this condition satisfy, I will be incremented again, I will become 11. If I will become 11, but once we have entered this for loop, this code will execute, right? This last line will execute. After that, again when the checking process will go on, I equal to 11, 11 is not less than or equal to 10, 11 is more than 10, this condition fail. If this condition fail, I will not be incremented further, I will not be incremented further, these two line of code will not be executed. Now we will go out of the for loop, simply we will go out of the for loop. This is how the for loop runs, and you can see just once I have written this hello world, just once, and but it has been printed 10 times. Had I given the value over here 1000, then this thing has been printed 1000 times. So we not only have saved our time to write this line of code repeatedly, we also have saved the memory of this particular file, because the more lines we are going to write here, the more memory it will occupy for this particular file. Right now, if I write here see, one, right? I have written 1 into, right, 1 into I. So the value of I will multiply by 1, the value of I will multiply by 1, right? So this is what I am doing over here. I am creating a table, table of 1. I am creating a table of 1. So you can see what I will be doing now. I will write 1, right? One into I. So 1 will be a string. I have used the concatenation. Then this x will look as 1 into, right, and I, the value of I, that will be shown. Then concatenation, then 1 into I. That means every time it will go on print, right? Every time it will go and print. I will take a BR. That means I am going to take a line. So 1 into I means 1 in first time it will print 1 into 1. Second time the I value will be incremented to 2. That means I into 1 into 2. Third time I value will be incremented to 3. That means 1 into 3. And this way it will go on till I will become 10. That means 1 into 10. We are going to create the table. See, can you see? 1 into 1. So 1 into 1 here. So we have to add equal to, right? Here we have to add equal to, yes. Just see, 1 into 1, 1. 1 into 2, 2. In this way, 1 into 10, 10. So we have created a table of 1. So in this way, you can also create the table of 5. Let me just show you. If I write now here, I have to write 5. I am going to create a table of 5 or anything, any table you can just simply create, right? So 5 into 1, 5 into 2, 5 into 7, 5 into 9, 5 into 10, 50. So now let us understand the nested formation of for loop, right? What is called nested formation of for loop? A for loop that will be placed inside another for loop. So there will be two for loop. One will be outer for loop another will be a for loop which will be executing inside, right? For every time the counter will be incremented for the outer for loop, it will go and execute the inner for loop, right? So let us understand. Unless we do, we can't understand. So let us understand. So just see. So I am going to create another for loop, right? So here I will write j equal to 1, right? Another counter I will take j. So j less than equal to 10. So for loop will go till j will be less than equal to 10. So we are going to create nested for loop, and we are going to create a multiplication table of 1 to 10 using this, right? See, now j equal to j plus 1, or simply you can write j plus plus, both are same. J equal to j plus 1 is same as j plus plus. Now see, here if I write this, and after that I have to take a line. Okay, just try to understand. So here I will write I, the value of I, which will be initialized by 1. Value of I, that is say at present 1, okay, equal to, here I will write j, right, equal to I into j. And here I am not going to take the, if I take br, let's see how it appears. Let me execute. Before I execute, I have to declare j variable here. So I have declared variable j variable I have initialized here. You can see j is 1. J will be working unless it is less than equal to 10. So when I will be 1, that time this for loop will execute 10 times, right? Try to understand. When this for loop will execute 1, inside this for loop will execute 10 times, because I will be 1, right? That means I is less than 10. True. Then I will be incremented by 1, right? Fine. But still I is 1. It will go to execute the inside for loop. J will be 1, and j until less than 10, it will then, till then we are not going to exceed this for loop. So this for loop will go on 10 times, because unless we dissatisfy this condition, this for loop will run. That means this for loop will run 10 times. For this for loop to run once, this for loop will run once, and this for loop will run 10 times for each execution of this for loop, right? In total of this program, this for loop will run 100 times, and this for loop will run 10 times, right? By this way we can calculate the table of 1 to 10. Just see over here. See, right? I into, see, I into, here it will be j. See, I into j, after that this will be shown. Just see 1 into 1 1, 1 into 2 2. So this is the table of 1, right? This is the table of 2, this is the table of 3. In this way we have got the table of till 90 and 100, right? So we can see we have created the table of 1 to 100 by just these two for loop, outer for loop and inside for loop. By just these two for loop we have created this table. So simply way, very simple way we have created this for loop, right? So let me do one more thing. Just see, I will add a paragraph over here. So here you can see at this position here I will write document dot writ, right, document dot write. Here I will take a paragraph, right? So document dot write right. So in we have just taken a paragraph, right, and inside the paragraph we have written everything, right? So you can see, and let me write the CSS for the paragraph over here. So I will just write the CSS for the paragraph. Just see, I will write the CSS for the paragraph over here. So here I will write with %, minus 2px, right? Margin 1px, right? And line height 60px, right? Background color red, text color will be white, right? And text align center, right? So you can see what we have done. We have just declared CSS for the paragraph inside this style, internal style, and inside this for loop. What we have done, we want to print this thing using the paragraph. So we need not require this BR. So let me delete the BR. So let me show you how it execute. Just see, right? So another thing I will add over here, float left. Now just go and see how it looks. So you can see we have created the table formation from 1 to 10. So 1 into 1, 1 into 2, 1 into 9, 1 into 10, then 2 into 1, 2 into 2, to 9 into 1, 9 into 2, 9 into 10, then at last 10 into 10, 10 into 2, 10 into 3. So the table of 1 to the table of 10 in a table structure, and this thing we have not created by writing manually. What we have done, we have simply, we can see, we just have used very simple for loop, right? This for loop formation, nested for loop formation we have used to create that. So easily we have done it. No, we need not require to write repeatedly this thing. We need not require to calculate the table manually. We just have used this for loop method. So just go and understand what I have done over here. Okay, so I told you that this for loop will execute 10 times for the execution of this for loop once. So you can just see when first time it will be initialized and it will be checked that I less than 10, it will be incremented by 1, and then this internal for loop will work. So internal for loop will work 10 times, because until and unless this condition dissatisfy, it will not go out of this for loop. That times this condition will work 10 times, and till then we can see this calculation will work. That means I into j. So I will be first time 1, that means j will be 1, I into 1, j will be 2, then I into 2, that means 1 into 2, j will be 3, that means you can just see every time. So you can see this for till here to here, till this table, the first time I was 1, and you can see the value of j that is incrementing. This is happening in the internal loop. I is incrementing in the internal loop. Sorry, not the I, j is incrementing. I was 1. Every time we can see this is happening when we can see the value of I. The value of I that was 1. We can see value of I that was 1. Value of j was incrementing, and this execute 10 times. You can see the first row, every time you can see the I was 1, but the value of j that is incrementing, you can see till 10. Right now at this point we can see I into j, that means we have this calculation 1 into 10, and this condition fails, this condition dissatisfied, we go out of this loop, and again we come to check this particular condition, and I became 2, which is less than 10, then I will be incremented to 3, and with this value of 2, this for loop again work for 10 times. You can see again I2 in the internal loop, this is happening, I2, j1, I will be 2 only, because outer for loop I that will be 2, j2, j3, j4, and j will be 10. Then only this condition fails, and we move out to this for loop, and again we go and enter this for loop, and this is the way this thing will work, and we can easily create this table of 1 to 10. Right, I hope you have understood how easily we have done this thing. Right, and in the next class we are going to discuss about the while loop, do while loop. Until then, thank you very much, and do not forget to subscribe the channel.